Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 3 Under Par podcast. This is a golf podcast where
Little white ball is life.
I'm your host, ScottyTee, and this coronavirus thing is going crazy. I'm here with my 2 roommates because we're 3 Under Par, 3 hosts. We got Garza and Lopez here. Fellas, how you doing?
Doing good, all things considered. Hanging in there, working from home life, trying to do our best, but productivity is a little down. Hopefully the managers don't get a little annoyed.
Maybe a little higher, actually, right?
No.
We'll see.
Hopefully they subscribe after this episode,
Right.
not this one.
So if you'll notice, we're coming from our townhome in Houston, Texas, where there is confirmed coronavirus cases here.
Indeed.
And we're practicing social distancing, except with each other, right here.
Absolutely no distancing going on at the townhouse.
Nope, no doubt about it. So, Garza, I wanted to loop you in, because we're here, but also big news coming out about the Masters. And you host and run our Masters pool. If you go back and listen to last year, Garza was on the episode.
Indeed. I want to say thanks for having me back on.
You're welcome.
This is a lot of fun.
It's good to have you here, man.
I'm honestly looking forward to not doing any work this year.
It takes a lot of work running that Masters pool, huh?
But it will be sad. This will be the first time we haven't done it since 2012.
First time since 1945 the Masters won't be played. We're going to talk a lot about this. Big news. Lopez, loyal 3 Under Par listener.
Shout out to be the one Stitcher listener. Although those numbers have plummeted now that they are on YouTube and have been listening
Correct.
over there.
I love it. Yeah, Lopez I always joke about the 1 or 2 Stitcher listeners. This guy.
Hey, Google 3 Under Par. Stitcher is the first hit. So, just saying.
Google 3 Under Par. Follow 3 Under Par at 3 Under Par Pod. On Twitter and Instagram, subscribe, rate, and review. If you're listening to us on YouTube, welcome. Glad you're here. Different setting. Obviously, we just explained why. Kind of big news going around across the world. It seems like the entire sports world just shut down. We're going to dive all about into that Players' Championship. Whether or not they probably should have even played or not was even a discussion at one point. Come Thursday, if you're here on YouTube, click that like button, subscribe to us, because also next weekend is my bachelor party.
It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be.
It'll happen. It's happening.
Happen. We are supposed to go to Austin, and we were supposed to go to the match play. Obviously, that's not going to happen anymore, unfortunately, fellas.
Sounds like the course is open to me.
Austin Country Club, we are ready to come if you will have us out there.
If anyone from Austin Country Club ownership is listening, I need a tee time. I need 3 tee times. Got 12 people. We'll keep apart. We'll practice social distancing. Whatever you need. We'll sign the waivers.
We would honestly be open to 4 tee times if you really wanted to commit to social distancing. We'll make it work.
Correct. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, with obviously all that going on, selfishly, outside of even the Masters, players being postponed, I was really looking forward to the match play. Like, the match play and I don't have a good history. For those out there, literally 3 years ago, I was supposed to go. I got the flu the night before. It was a low point in my life where I handed the tickets off to my friends when they were driving down from Dallas, and I was throwing up all weekend. It was miserable. And then it's just some other stuff. I've literally tried to go to the match play forever. And this is the first year I was like, we're in, don't get sick. But then the freaking coronavirus just jacks with everything. Ugh.
This is not a good look, man. Like, maybe it's meant to be.
Or not meant to be.
Yeah, that one too.
I'm going to go to that damn tournament at some point. It's only a matter of when, but I will go. All right. So we did the intro already. Tell a friend about 3 Under Par as well. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, write that review on Apple Podcasts. Again, subscribe, rate, and review. You know the drill. Thanks for listening. Garza rocking the Rowback koozie right there.
Absolutely.
Rocking the Rowback shirt. Because they were on last week. Really good interview. Great people. The founders of Rowback, their tagline is crave activity, whether it be out golfing or tennis. If you just want to be outside, I love the Rowback shirts. Like, they're not paying me to say this or anything. So I just really like their stuff. I mean, I played 3 rounds of golf this weekend because Corona ain't stopping us going to the golf course.
You can appropriately social distance on a golf course.
You can. according to Golf Digest, right?
Indeed. I was reading a few things off air right before we came on, and it's possible to play golf, unlike most sports where you need a quorum or cluster of people around to do anything remotely active.
Yep.
One of the few benefits of coronavirus is that golf should, in theory, still be going on.
In theory.
In theory, obviously not to a tournament level where you have hundreds or if not tens of thousands of people
Right.
around a course. That obviously would not be recommended right now.
And, yeah, and I had some friends who were out there at the Players Championship out there on Thursday. And, it's not bad whenever you're following groups where you don't know the people. But the Players is really known for putting groups together, premier groups. Like I think JT, Ricky, and Jordan were all playing together. You're going to have a lot of people that follow the groups like that. And even once you get around 16, 17, they call it the stadium course for a reason. And that's a lot of people in one area. But to your point, us playing golf, we can totally do it. No problem. I hope, at least right now, at the time of this recording, subject to change. Because who knows what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks.
I have a point of clarification, Scotty.
Yes.
You said stadium course. Is that typically the TPC course in Arizona, or is there also a stadium at TPC Sawgrass?
So it's a good question. So TPC Sawgrass has 2 courses on there.
Okay.
There's one called the Stadium Course, which is where they play the tournament, and the other is called the Valley Course. And both are Pete Dye designs. So it's Dye's Valley and then the Stadium Course. And the Dye's Valley actually used to host the Web.com Tour Championship. So, I mean, it's a really good course, but compared to a stadium course, it's kind of easy. But, like, you put that course here, it's really tough.
So it's stadium course versus stadium hole, essentially.
Correct. Now, the reason why they call it the stadium course is because, like, a lot of the hills and whatnot are built up. So it gives you a stadium-type feel, like an arena, like a basketball arena. Now, 16 at TPC Scottsdale, where they play the Waste Management Phoenix Open, those are all grandstands. Like, if you take those away, it is desert. It is flat. So that's why it's a little bit different. Right there. There you go.
The more you know.
Food for thought. So we're going to talk a lot about PGA Tour. Man, what was – Lopez, I want to start with you, man. What was going through your mind when you're hearing all this news? Like, the entire world is just slowly being shut down, the sports world at least, with NCAA March Madness. NBA came out first, and then golf followed suit. What was your initial reaction?
Initially, I thought it was an overreaction, but it probably is the right call. As much as it sucks to not have sports to watch and not have things to entertain us outside of Netflix and the 3 Under Par podcast at this point.
Boom.
But yeah, I think they made the right call because we don't really know how big this thing is or isn't. Being outside is perfectly fine, but putting 100,000 people on a golf course, watching the best players play, maybe not the right call. It sucks though because Masters weekend is probably the best sports weekend there is out there for a lot of people. I'm in the camp where I think it's still going to happen. Garza's in the opposite side right now that it may not play this year. I could see a fall tee off, but again, I don't know.
Right.
But
yeah, we might as well just even title this episode Golf Gossip because that's what this whole thing really is. I've already labeled a former episode Golf Gossip. This is going to be Golf Gossip Corona edition of here. COVID-19. Garza, do you think they're going to play the Masters, man?
I'll play the devil's advocate and say no.
Really? Wow.
The Masters is all about tradition, and every year you think of the azalea bushes blooming and a perfectly manicured course and waiting for this weekend to come around in a specific schedule within the tour schedule, even though it is technically outside of the tour. And if they have to go up against the NFL in the fall with ratings or every other sport, whether it's NBA playoffs, since that's going to get pushed back, whether it's the MLB playoffs, I think they are okay doing their own thing to maintain tradition and optics. And let's be honest, they don't need the money. They don't need to do this to keep their brand up or to have the prestige to keep this little tournament afloat. I mean, the Masters will be fine, assuming coronavirus gets controlled within the next year. So I could see them saying, no, we don't need to do this right now. We don't need to risk it, and we'll wait till next year.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's just it's weird times. This is just really unprecedented times. what more can you say that really already hasn't been said about, like, if you tune in the Golf Channel or if you tune in the Sports Center, ESPN, everybody's saying the same thing. There's just a lot of uncertainty right now, which really stinks. My sister actually told me this, and I thought it was pretty appropriate. Leading up to a pandemic, any actions that are taken are an overreaction. But if it turns out to be as bad as we think it is, any actions taken are going to be considered inadequate. And so we are still maybe in the overreaction phase, at least right now at the time of this recording. It is March 16th. So 2020. I want to make that very clear. But, in a week or so, the world is probably going to be different.
I think it absolutely will. But do you think it'll be played, Scotty? I mean, obviously we know you love the Masters and you look forward to it every year. But taking out your bias, do you think it'll be played this year?
Yes. For the very reasons that you stated, yes.
Wow.
Those guys don't give a F about anything else. And really, I think they're still going to play it because I don't know if this is the right way to phrase it. It's probably an ego thing. They still want to show off their golf tournament. It is a tradition unlike any other. They want to have those things. And if you're looking back at their history books 30 years from now and there's just a blank year, that is not very good tradition. Even if it is played in October, which there are rumors going around on Twitter and everything that it is going to be played in October, they don't care about the Silverado Country Club. I don't think even a lot of those guys, even though, yes, they work hand in hand with the PGA Tour because the PGA Tour is every single week, the majors take precedence over everything else. And if the Masters comes into them and says, hey, we want on this schedule, whichever tournament is on that week, sorry.
Yeah, no.
Sorry. So that's what I mean by it's an ego thing, that they just don't really care. They still want to play their tournament.
Yeah, sorry, Houston Open, you're getting canceled. If the Masters says, I want X weekend in April whenever this thing's supposed to kick off, and I'll be like, yes, please. I'd much rather watch you play at Augusta than come out here to Memorial.
Which I did play Memorial Park for the first time on Friday.
How was it?
It was good. I really liked it. See, COVID-19 had stopped me from playing golf.
How would you say it compares to Augusta National?
I do have to hold on before I get to that. I feel like I need to make some sort of caveat. None of us work in the medical field or anything like that. So if we make jokes like COVID-19 ain't got nothing on us, please don't take that seriously, because that's my disclaimer. Again, at the time of this recording, this is the situation. 24 hours from now, it could be totally different by the time you're viewing this video. But what do you think is going to happen with COVID-19? Comment below. To answer your point, what was your question?
It was, how does Memorial Golf Course compare to Augusta National?
Pretty comparable. Not. I will say, though, I really did like the changes, and we'll probably do a golf course review video at some point about it. We haven't really gotten around to it yet because I played on Friday, and no big deal. But I played on Saturday, Sunday, too. Thank you, Linda, for letting me go play.
Hashtag Little White Ball is life.
Little White Ball is life. There's a reason why we say that, because we like to play golf as much as we can around here. But, I mean, to your point, though, we did look into it. We can play golf right now.
As of now.
As of now. But in terms of the PGA Tour handling it right, it was really interesting last Thursday. Let's wind the clocks back about 3 days ago. We're watching the Big East tournament. The ACC canceled the night before. NBA had already suspended the season for 30 days, right? ACC canceled the tournament. SEC canceled their their tournament. Big 12. The Big East is playing. Creighton is playing St. John's. And the players is going on at the moment. And then they cancel the game, the St. John's and Creighton game, at halftime. And the players are still playing on. Do you think the PGA Tour handled this correctly? At least on Thursday. I think they eventually made the right decision, but do you think it was a day too late?
I'd say no. Also, golf is usually the slowest. PGA is the slowest to react generally, historically, in sports.
That's true.
Being outside is good for people. Yes, there were probably a ton of people there on the Thursday round, but probably the lower crowds of the weekend. I think they were fine finishing the round. It was, again, we don't know. I could be entirely wrong. There could be a million cases stemming from this tournament. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I doubt it, but I don't know.
What's one of those two? Ponte Vedra Beach isn't necessarily known for the youngest age demographic, too, and Corona, at least right now, isn't going. It's going after older people, but it was just really funny seeing like the videos that are like PGA Tour 2-point, generally a little bit slower to react. Wednesday night, there was a Chainsmokers concert that was going on at 17. So you got the Chainsmokers that are going on. NBA cancels their season. All the basketball tournaments are canceling their tournaments, and they go off and tee off. I was just like, a part of me was kind of a big dick move by the PGA Tour, but I think they made the right call.
I don't think this is the time or place that you kind of want to get into a masculinity contest of where we're the hardest, we're the most extreme sports league. I mean, it's golf. It's not UFC.
Correct. And they did start off by saying friends and family only. That's what they were telling the players right after they were done in the morning rounds on Thursday. Friends, immediate family and media. That was it. I don't know if that's too much. I don't know. It's weird times.
It's a nice gesture, but as you've seen the weekend progress, it's gotten to gatherings of 500 to 300, and even today, I think
you saw it down to 10, right?
It was released down to recommended, not mandatory, but recommended gatherings of 10 or less. So, I mean, the amount of media and
that's why I got 3 here.
Family that it takes to run a tournament, you can't have it now.
Right. Well, you got 3 of us here. Thanks for tuning in so far. Who do you think would have won the Players? If you play it through, Hideki Matsuyama drops a 63, which, okay, I played that course, and I think I've mentioned this a few times on the podcast. I used to work for the PGA Tour, first job out of school.
Humble brag.
Flex on him. And that was weird. I shouldn't have done that. But I worked for the PGA Tour. I was there for less than a year. It was an entry-level job, but I worked there, so I got to play the course a few times. That course is so difficult. And when they get it in tournament conditions, it's like Hideki shooting 63? Oh, my gosh. And I'm a pretty good player. And look, if I broke 80 out there, I was pretty happy. Yeah. So that is a bear of a golf course. 63 is just disgusting. It's like almost offensive. But
could you talk about what the groundskeepers do to kind of make it tournament ready and make it even more difficult?
Yeah, it's really what they do is that they'll grow up the rough. They'll shave in the fairway so it's not as wide, and then they'll make the greens just really fast. Yeah, it's all comes down to mostly the greens, honestly.
So my nightmare. I want big greens.
Yeah.
Wide fairways, big greens.
And like mediocre speed. We don't want them lightning fast or anything.
No.
Yeah. What's tough about TPC Sawgrass is that it's a very tough driving course. Like 4, 5, 6, like they're all, you got to put in the fairway off the tee. If you're not putting in the fairway off the tee, it's really hard to stop the ball out there, and you got to make a lot of putts. And it's just a bear of a golf course. Your game has to be sharp in every facet. And what's tricky is that I remember there was one time I think I was on number 2. I was going for the green at 2. I pull hooked that's pretty standard. Pull hooked the second shot, and I was in a pot bunker that was about the size of like just me and you. Like I could barely stand in it, but so because of that, it was just a weird line. I ended up making bogey when I was greenside, and 2. It's like who put this pot bunker here? Like what jackwagon thought that? Pete Dye, of course, that genius. Rest in peace, Mr. Dye. But bottom line, great golf course. Do you think he would have won, or do you think somebody would have come back and get him?
What was the scoreboard at the end of the day Thursday? I don't even know if that's even out there at this point. Is that out there?
I mean, because when you pull up the
it just says suspended, I think.
Well, they're already showing the Valspar from last year. Wow. Paul Casey won.
I'm not sure who would have won, but I think we all would have liked to have seen Rory McIlroy in the final grouping. I know 300 Par put out a good little 5-7 minute clip on how he's underappreciated, or
go check out that, and that it'll be in this corner.
Maybe not fully respected, and it's easy to make fun of people that don't win, but finishing top 5, top 10 consistently is ridiculously impressive. To your point, to how difficult they make these golf courses, and it's fun to say that he has nothing on Brooks, and maybe he doesn't, but I I would have liked to have seen him in the final grouping to at least have another shot at maybe not a major tournament, but a rather important tournament on the tour.
It is a major.
Is it?
You didn't hear.
The fifth major.
It's a major, just in general now.
Oh, that's news to me.
That's news to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
But it is
No
here
doubt.
at 3 under par. That is the general consensus that the Players is a major championship.
Okay, I have the scoreboard.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah. All right, so
can't find
Hideki after Thursday 9 under. I cannot say this dude's name, so I'm going to slide that one to you.
Let's see. Holy cow. Who is that? Christian Bezudenhut.
Sorry for getting your name wrong, but
Oh, I'm so sorry. Christian. He's from South Africa.
Clearly doing some things right
My
there.
bad. Yeah. Whoops.
but all right. Well,
Yeah. And Scotty Scheffler was there. He's a young and up-and-coming player. Was that you, Garza, that was saying you... Dude, put Scotty Scheffler on notice. That guy is going to be a stud on the PGA Tour.
all right, looking at the day one, I'm just going to go to 7. I'd be rooting for Hovland to win. He's at 4 under, so he'd be 5 back after Thursday. I want to see one of these young guns win one of the big tournaments.
You're right.
So
Yeah, that'll be good.
yeah, Scotty Scheffler, I'll root for him too. He's in that category, but
Definitely.
sorry, Mark Leishman, I'm not pulling for you, even though you shot
You're
5
not pulling
under.
for Leash? Leash is the man.
It'd be good to see Hideki win, but I want to see a little bit of the changing of the guard and see some of these young guns in the last group on a Sunday at the big tournament. Not them just winning, but them winning at the big tournaments.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Matsuyama would have held on the win because it's so hard to hold a lead after you get it after the first day. Very few people go wire to wire on the PGA Tour. Also, one of the hardest things to do is when you have a good round is to follow it up with another good round. So it would have been just, it just stinks that in the history books, it's just going to be a blank year. The Players' Championship is awesome. I know we like joking about it. Is it a major? Is it not? There's no doubt about it, though. Ponte Vedra Beach, it's good for Jacksonville. It's good for the community. Outside of Tiger, everybody's there. And generally, Tiger is there. He's won the thing twice. I mean, the better the most, maybe one of the most iconic golf quotes of all time was Tiger on 17 at the Players. But did Tiger know about this in advance? That's what I want to know.
Hot take. Did Tiger start the coronavirus to get his back right for the Masters 2020? Did he delay it so he could defend his title?
October edition. Seriously, man, he's playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. He's boys with President Trump. Maybe he knew something in advance beforehand, too. Like, I don't know.
Absolutely not. Let me.
You don't want to play the conspiracy
Even
theory?
with my lack of golf knowledge, I'll gladly say that Tiger's well known for skipping multiple tournaments a year to get right for certain tournaments, mainly the Masters come April.
I think that goes to my point, what I was saying earlier. It's all about the majors. It's all about the Masters. We kind of joke about it with Brooks Koepka, but at the end of the day, you're measured by your majors. People don't remember how many PGA Tour wins Jack Nicklaus has. I mean, do y'all know? I know because I'm a golf nut, and I host a golf podcast, but
More than most.
73. He's third all time. Sam Snead has 82. Tiger has 82. But people know Jack because of his 18 major wins.
Hey,
Yeah,
if we can get 4 tournaments this year, I'm in.
So
Make them all the majors.
Yeah.
And then resume the Players. Give me a 5th one, but
Piggyback off Jack and the Masters. Jack thinks that the Masters is not going to happen this year. If the greatest major champion and the person who's won the Masters the most times thinks it's not going to happen, that's definitely not a good sign.
Again, I think it's how the course is going to be. If you can't have it looking perfectly pristine, and I get that there's sorcerers and magicians over there, and they can make a flower bloom on a Thursday versus a Friday. But
They can. It's remarkable.
if they can do that in the August heat, I'm going to be blown away.
Well, that's the thing. I think they're going to have it in October, and that's like right in at least in Georgia. In that in between
it'll
time.
mirror the weather on the back end. I
Right.
think it's going to happen. I think the people need it to happen.
So Garza, you think that it's not going to happen just because of course conditions? It won't look as nice, so they don't want to show it off.
I think Augusta National cares deeply about their image, and they open their gates once a year, and it looks perfect, and we love it, and you recognize it immediately when you see it. And if they can make it look exactly like that, and they very well could, because again, they're great at what they do. But yeah, I don't think they need to prove anything to anyone. They know they have the best tournament in the world, and they can sit out a year and say, "Hey, we'll wait it out."
Okay. It was also confirmed today that Augusta National is closed. They're not opening up to the public or anybody this spring.
To their members, you mean? They can't even get on?
Nope.
That's an expensive check to write.
And and Augusta Nationals, it's closed a lot throughout the year. It's only open maybe 5 months.
I thought it was 4, but I'm not as tied into it as you are. But yeah, it's always the rumor was like, oh, it's only open for 3 or 4 months a year. It was like, and you're a member for $500,000. Like, have fun.
Exactly. Can you imagine paying that much money to be a member at a place in a state that you probably don't live in, on a course that is open 4 months out of the year?
10 out of 10 times, if I have the money, I'm doing it. Like every single chance. If I got the opportunity, I am in. Take my money. I don't have it, but if I had it, take my money.
Would you make a deal with the devil to join Augusta?
No comment.
Would you get
plead the fifth?
Would you accept a positive result from COVID-19 to at least play it one time?
Yes.
Yes.
100%. I'm in.
Yes.
I'm young and healthy enough. Like the studies say I'm okay, so I'll roll those dice.
That's risky business, but I like where your mind's at. I agree. Would you?
Would you accept a positive COVID test just to attend the Masters once?
No.
I've been denied by the Masters lottery like 5 years running now, so yeah, I'm in.
Garza, would you?
I'm going to say no. I don't care to be that person right now.
Look, we're in a unique situation. We're not necessarily those who are at risk, so I understand your logic, Lopez.
I'm playing the odds here.
Yeah.
Pretending to be young and healthy.
Just stay in that lottery. You'll get it. You'll get it eventually.
Emphasis on eventually.
Eventually. You might be 60 years old, but you'll get it. Your odds only increase. But it's just interesting that Jack thinks that they're not going to play. I think they might play as well. The other major championship that they're talking about is the PGA. It's at TPC Harding Park in San Francisco. The Pacific Northwest is getting just cleaned out right now. Maybe that's the wrong phrase. But the virus is going through the Pacific Northwest very quickly compared to other parts of the country.
Yeah.
And
what time of year is this supposed to be played?
It's going to be the 3rd or 4th week of May.
Okay.
Correct. So at San Francisco,
yeah, I think
it's tough.
I think we'll still be in a delay at that point. NBA said June comeback.
June?
I think that's what they were aiming for.
Oh.
Originally, like it's all still early, but
what is going to happen? What's going on?
A lot of Netflix.
A lot of Netflix. A lot of listening to the 3 Under Par podcast and viewing the YouTube channel.
But if they delay it to June, do they move the course? Do they keep it there? I don't know. But if one of them comes back, if one of the major leagues comes back, it's going to open the door for everyone else. NBA was the first to pull the plug to get out, so they, in theory, could be the first one to say, you know what, we're jumping back in. I'm not counting UFC right now because they're saying fights go on,
which I kind of respect. It's not good, but I kind of respect it because
there's
brand.
There's no one in the crowd. Like they're not gathering more than 10 people, so like they're good there. And like the UFC,
so they're not having crowds. They're just
this is on brand for Dana White. He's been going off the rails and like doing his own thing forever. So it gives people something to watch. Like it's sports, it's something, but
true.
But not counting that one, when another major league, when baseball opens up, when the NBA comes back, when whoever else comes back, it'll open the door for everything again. It's just a matter of when, and if June's the timeline, June's the timeline. But then you've missed, 2 majors at that point?
Well, 3 if you include the players.
2.5?
Yeah. 2 majors. And, dude, it's just going to be nuts this fall. I mean, if you're into the business of sports too, CBS has all these contracts that they have to fulfill and / not fill now. So, okay, what do you feel now? CBS is supposed to be airing the Masters in 3 weeks. What are you going to do with that airtime now? On the flip side, though, CBS has the SEC Game of the Week come football. If the Masters is in April or in October, well, who do they go with? What do they do? I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out come fall when sports do ramp up, because it's going to ramp up. It's only a matter of when. Right now, it's a dead time, weird, strange times, but it's going to happen. It could be July. It could be June. I think everybody is anticipating football season, though. Like come August or the beginning of the next school year.
Yeah, there's a group of owners in the NFL that definitely want the games being played, especially
Jerry?
with that new CBA being signed this morning or yesterday, whenever they officially signed it. Like those games, I think, will go on.
Right.
Whether there's fans in the stands, those games will go on.
If we're still quarantined by September, we're going to have way bigger issues than are we watching football on Saturday or Sunday.
It's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, I don't know. I did hear one rumor that they might move the PGA Championship to TPC Sawgrass, where the players is played.
What dark sorcery of Twitter are you digging into to make
I don't
this
know
happen?
if that's true or not. That's just the rumor mill that I dove way too deep into, which kind of makes sense though. Like if they
Was this your Twitter account?
But then I was also reading though that the Masters might take that weekend in May and then move the PGA to August where it was beforehand. But Jacksonville in August, nope, hard pass on that. It is hot down there. I don't know. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things up in the air. A lot of also different when it comes to golf organizations. You got the USGA, RNA, the PGA Tour, the PGA of America. Those are all independent organizations. They work together, but they all have their own agendas. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins out, essentially. And then throw in the monkey wrench of Augusta National.
Throw in the wrench of the Olympics this year.
You have the Olympics.
Do you have
a Ryder Cup?
I could see the Ryder Cup getting delayed. They might be. I could be wrong. I'm a little more removed from golf than you are, but I could see that one kind of being like you're the last fiddle in this stack.
Nope.
Does the Olympics trump that?
No.
No?
Olympics, I think, is the very last on the totem pole, purely based off of it's the newest. They've only played the Olympics, golf in the Olympics one time.
But then you have a vested interest to grow it and make sure your best players are there.
But do you have a more interest in that or in a Ryder Cup, where the Americans have gotten their asses handed to them?
Taking 1 year off of the Ryder Cup?
In the Tour de France. Le Golf National, whatever, in France. You get the point.
Different sport. Little
Did I
white
say
cycling
Tour de
is
France?
life.
Did I say-
Cycling is
Whoops.
life?
Le Golf National in Paris, France.
There
it is. We got it. We got embarrassed over there, man. In the Ryder Cup, we just gotta silence all cell phones, please, Lopez. Nah, just kidding.
Not on airplane mode, sorry.
Ryder Cup, I think, takes more precedence than what we think. I don't know. I didn't really phrase that well. But outside of the majors, I think the Ryder Cup is the next most important. Ryder Cup might even... No. Majors, players, throw that in there at least. Majors and then players and then the Ryder Cup. The only reason why I say it doesn't take even more precedence is that they don't get paid. That's the only reason why. If they got paid and got to play in the Ryder Cup, it would be top priority.
Do you think this gives the advantage, though, to other international players that wouldn't be in the Ryder Cup? Maybe like an Adam Scott or a Matsuyama or somebody
in what regard?
could
To the
go
Olympics?
To the Olympics, yeah. Would
Oh,
in the
100%.
field, yeah.
I mean, because the 10 people or 12 people who make the Ryder Cup probably won't play in the Olympics. Maybe you'll have one crossover, but that's about it because it's too much travel. It's too condensed, too much travel. Guys need rest. The wear and tear for traveling can take its toll. So that's why, to your point, yes, that would give the internationals, people who traditionally play on the international team, a better chance of And then who knows, you would sit down.
But does that open the door for one of these young U.S. stars to go, or future stars,
100%.
hopefully, to go win?
100%.
Is the American pool deep enough to then go win the Olympics? If say they're the same weekend, say they're the same timeline. You've got your 10 best playing the Ryder Cup by your logic, and then my next 10 or next 5, however many you send.
Yeah.
Is that next tier good enough to go against what's left?
Good enough to medal. I don't know if they'd be good enough to win.
Well, it's hard enough to win a golf tournament already. So
Exactly.
So that could be anyone, but
okay, let's think about the President's Cup. Kevin Kisner, he didn't make the President's Cup team. That guy's absolutely capable of winning a gold medal. He can beat anybody in the world when he's on. So that's why I think, yeah, there's a good chance to medal out there. Even if you guys if you got a Scotty Scheffler versus Victor Hovland match like you did it with Stenson and Rose 4 years ago, that would tune in for that, because then that would put those guys on the map moving forward too. And but there's a very good chance Victor Hovland can make the Ryder Cup team still. But then again, if the travel restrictions also continue on, Americans might not play in the British Open.
Yeah.
Jeez.
We didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
If you're the USGA, you got to be
hard place.
Yeah.
Have fun.
It's going to be interesting to see how this really all plays out. It's really affecting the golf world, the sports world altogether. We talked about the rumors, about TPC Harding Park. They might just cancel the tournament altogether. I think at the end of the day, I think the PGA will cancel, but not the Masters, just postpone. Because the Masters, that's all it is. That's all their interest is. The PGA has a lot of things going on, including the Ryder Cup, that they got to get ready for. So they might just miss it this year. Yeah. What are we going to do to pass the time, y'all?
I'm not sure. I have a question, though, on one of y'all's thoughts on it.
Oh, yeah. What's up?
How do you think this affects the younger people who aren't on the tour yet, people who are trying to qualify to get their cards? I know you, in your experience, you've obviously played with a lot of people who are currently trying to make the tour, friends of yours, friends of friends. Mm-hmm. Do you think this puts them at a huge disadvantage, little disadvantage, or no disadvantage as they try to make it professionally?
It's a good question. I think a lot of it depends on how the PGA Tour is going to respond to this. Because when it comes to guys who make it from the Korn Ferry Tour up to the PGA Tour, it's all about starts. How many starts can I get? And then once you get those starts, you have to capitalize on it. Finish your top 25. That gets you more starts. That's why it's really impressive to see Matthew Wolff, Colin Morikawa, Victor Hovland already win, because then they got their handful of starts. They won. Now they're exempt. They get job security. I actually had a buddy of mine I was texting with yesterday, and he was saying, and he's on many tours, and he was saying that I'm home now. I got until the PGA Tour works it out. I can't Monday qualify. You can't get starts. Jeez. So that's why I think the PGA Tour, they might have to adjust their standards of how many starts we give you, or extend it maybe into the wraparound season, because who knows how long. If they cancel every tournament until June, you're taking away 8 starts from potential people. How are you going to make those up?
I'd think you'd have to extend it. Anyone who would be up for exemption, if it's paused till June, say June 1 is our day back, you'd have to basically, everyone who's getting on risk for exemption this year and losing their card, you'd have to give them another year. You'd have to say, you know what, you get a pause. You get to play for 2021. Mm-hmm. And then any person trying to fight for it, you're playing to get into after 2021, or you just expand the field next year. You got one of two options, because say you do qualify, say you're good enough from the Korn Ferry to play in. It's 125 is the line?
Yep.
Say you're dude 125, you just played your way in. Sorry, I had to give a guy an exemption. You're really 126 now. Let the guy in. I think you just bump it to 150, but again, that's a lot of dudes on a golf course every weekend.
And they already struggle sometimes with finishing rounds. Even the players on Thursday, they didn't finish the round on Thursday.
No.
And you had guys teeing off at 1 and 10 starting at 7:10 a.m. And you still didn't finish. Granted, that is one of the bigger fields in golf, though, but, expanded by 25 people. To your point, Garza, I don't know. Yeah. It's a good question. That's one thing that they're going to have to work out how to figure out. There's no doubt, though, that during this whole situation, some people are going to get screwed. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Some people are really going to get the short end of the stick. And, you can complain all you want about it, and I think there's a legitimate argument that can be made. And no, you probably did get screwed. But we'll see. At the end of the day, just hopefully play better golf so don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Well, not a lot of winners in general in this whole situation.
Yeah. Well, the margin for error is so thin on the PGA Tour. It's disgusting how thin the margin of error is out there on tour. So best of luck to all those guys. Corona might be going on. Sports world might be canceled, but we are still here. Follow us on social media at 3 Under Par Pod. The number 3 Under Par Pod, Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe, rate, and review. Apple Podcasts, write that review on Apple Podcasts. If you're a Stitcher listener, let me know so I can give you the shout out, Lopez.
Someone take over those numbers. There's an opportunity to be the shout out of Stitcher.
Yeah, it's not the numbers. It's just a number.
See, Lopez is watching on YouTube now, which you might be watching from. Thank you for tuning in. Click that subscribe button. Like this video. Also, let us know what you thought. How did the PGA Tour handle this? When is the Masters going to be played? Do you think the PGA Tour handled this correctly? Also, I'm curious to know this, actually, genuinely. What are you going to do to pass the time? Comment below. Let me know, because I need some ideas, actually. A lot of Netflix, like you mentioned. Hopefully a lot of golf, too. But if you have any golf trips that are being going on, those are being canceled. Our friends at Bethpage Black Bros, they just canceled their trip to Hilton Head, which they take every year. I get it.
I got to make my way to a golf course. I'll be fine. I social distance myself off in the rough, so I'll be alone over there on 4 right. But
right. Exactly.
I'll be good.
Man, so Lopez, you think June is when golf season's going to come back?
I do. I think as more data comes in, I think we'll have a good handle on COVID-19, and 2 months seems like about the time frame I think that we're going to be on a little bit of a pause for everything.
Yeah. Garza, what do you think?
Given how Taiwan and Hong Kong and Singapore kind of stunted the growth of the virus in terms of infections, it seems if the Americans do their part over the next 2-3 weeks, 2 months is a very realistic timeline.
Yeah. The more you think about it, Jin, I could very easily see it go through July 4th, though, especially since you see the videos of, like, Times Square and all the St. Patrick's Day parties were still going on. It kind of depends on if you do your part, if you are taking it seriously or not.
Yeah. And, I mean, obviously I don't think it'll come back with full tournaments in terms of all the sponsors and spectators going out to see the tournaments, but actually getting played is more likely.
Yeah. I bet you the first 1 or 2 are probably going to be no fans, because the PGA Tours can really get away with that. You can in the NBA, NHL technically, but golf, we're used to playing with no fans anyway. So, like, an NBA player isn't used to playing without fans.
Yeah.
No. Even in practice, everybody's got some fans still have access to practice. When it comes to golfers, they're used to playing on their own all the time.
It won't matter. As long as there's sports back, people are going to be thrilled, whether they're watching or spectating in person.
It is really funny to see, like, the Barstool videos of people gambling on NBA 2K because of the lack of March Madness and just going nuts. That also being said, if you have any video ideas for us that you want to go do, because we live pretty much right across the street from a golf course, we'll probably might go play around.
Driving range at least.
I'm going to be working from home. Driving range from home. If you work for my company, I will be working from home.
Can confirm Scott was working diligently today.
Thank you, Garza. So are you. With your 4 screens, which is just outrageous. I really want to turn the camera around because that's just right over there, but 4 screens, that's impressive, man.
Some of us have to get work done around here.
The screens were
Lopez.
blank half the day.
That is true. All right. Stay safe, everybody out there. And, subscribe, rate, review. You know the drill. Tell a friend as well if you're being cooped up. We got some videos in the past, some old podcasts as well. Bogey Brothers interview, which is awesome. Roback interview last week, which is fantastic. On a Paul Azinger versus the Euro Tour, which was a video that did very well for us. Some golf course reviews. We got some more golf course reviews coming, I think. So went and played Memorial Park. T-Bone went and played Memorial Park too, so we'll probably do a collab video if we observe this social distancing as well, though. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We really appreciate you. Lopez, thanks for coming on. First time ever.
Thanks for having me. Glad I live here. Got the call up from the miners, I guess.
You getting the call up, man. Call up. Garza, thanks again. Repeat guest.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Of Three Under Par.
Downstairs roommate.
Garza is the downstairs roommate. Lopez is the upstairs roommate. My man, we hold it down up there.
Hold it down up there.
You
really?
heard me correctly.
Yeah.
All right, this is getting off the rails. We're going to get out of here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And remember,
Little white ball is life.